We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, here it is. Welcome in for a brand new edition of the BCSN Nation podcast, season 3, episode 21, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Let's go, sports bar.
We talked about it a little bit on Friday on Game Day Nation, but it's officially official. The NLL is adding Liberty Benton. You see it on the screen. BV, see you later. Talk about this addition for the NLL, for both the NLL side and for Liberty Benton side, Dion.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. They're going to the Cardinal division, right?
Yes.
I'm predicting this right now. They're going to be at the top in football, boys basketball and girls basketball. They are traditionally strong in those sports.
Yep.
So I know some people are saying, well, now they get to go to the big pond and be the big fish, or however that saying goes. But trust me when I tell you, they're going to travel well. They're going to bring a lot of fans out.
Yeah.
It's a great addition for the NLL.
It's definitely a sports community that cares.
Absolutely.
I preach it. If you want to be at the top, or you want to be a competitive contender year in and year out, season to season, sport to sport, gender to gender, you got to care. You got to have leadership. You got to have administrators who identify talent and coaches who can get the job done and build a culture and build a program. And borderline up and down across all sports from August all the way through June, Liberty Benton does just that. So that's for them. For the NLL, they get to an even number of 12. That's scheduling-wise. It does miracles for them and removes headaches. So I think that is big for the commissioner and all of the school athletic directors and coaches. And, yeah, they are championship-level contenders. I like what you're saying in regards to going into the Cardinal division, Dion, and forecasting, projecting what they can do. And you know what? Here's what I think. You rise everybody up when you bring in a championship program, or programs, plural, to each division, to each you get crossover games too. Don't forget about that too. So I think everyone is going to have to rise to the occasion, and it's a good addition. It's not overly far. There's already Findlay there, which is a 12-minute drive from Findlay to Liberty Benton. You already got Fremont Ross, Napoleon, so those are all on the outskirts of the greater Toledo area. Yeah. So I think a good fit.
Yeah, bring a heavy hitter into the Cardinal division. That'll be 2026 and 2027, the first year Liberty Benton will join. We got plenty to talk about today. Our clip of the week from Renewal by Anderson, our game of the week from Dunshevy and Oregon. We'll recap some of last week and get you ready for what's going on this Thursday, this Friday, all of it today on the BCSN Nation podcast. Make sure you listen to us every single Wednesday for a brand new episode, or get us anywhere you listen to your audio mediums, or bcsnnation.com/podcast. And while you're hitting that / go over to whatever social media page you want to follow at BCSN Sports. But now it's time to get into it, gentlemen. Agree to disagree. We're here again. Title races are getting into the thick of it. We've got only a handful of weeks left, and some of them are quite tight. It got tighter in the NLL. Buckeye last night, Perrysburg beating Whitmer, and that is kind of where the top two teams stand in the NLL Buckeye, but a big win for Perrysburg last night over Whitmer.
Yeah, Mason Lowry was on the call with that one along with Rhett Boyd, and Mason had a good line that just stuck with me. He said that Perrysburg has a lot of young, crafty players, and when you're coached by Dave Boyce, who's been there, done that over multiple decades at multiple schools, he knows how to develop. We're nearing the end of January. This Perrysburg team was not as good as it is now as they were back in December, and that's called coaching. So I think that they have the pieces to develop, and the benefit of going through the rocky roads and the obstacles with a young team is those young players are going to be around for a while at Perrysburg, and then they can reap the benefits of getting those bumps and bruises and losses early on in their high school varsity careers. And Perrysburg changed it with this win, and they challenged Whitmer, lost on the road in a close game, single-digit game earlier this year. So getting this win where they kind of were in control for much of the night. I know that Whitmer had the lead at points in the second half, but still, overall, Perrysburg controlled the game.
We know what Perrysburg does defensively. It's confusing when you play the matchup, and they give you different looks out of the matchup. Yeah. But offensively, what I like, they took advantage of Whitmer's aggressiveness, okay? Whitmer tends to overplay the passing lanes a lot. If you notice, they got a lot of backdoor stuff, on Whitmer. And you got to think about something. They start 4 sophomores, okay, and 1 senior. So with a team like that, there's unpredictability. Coach Boyce has been around long enough. He knows that, the good comes with the bad with these guys. I don't know what I'm going to get from night to night, but they believe they can win. I think it started from that first game. They almost pulled that first game off at Whitmer. They pulled it off last night. Now, sad ending from what I'm hearing, but you know what? I mean, it's sports. It's going to be competitive. And Coach Anthony Stacy came out, took the blame, for his team. I always like when coaches do that. And he says, you know what? Like we talked about, Brandon, hey, if I got to end the season with less guys, I'm going to do what I need to do. So
the guys that deserve to be here in my eyes, yeah.
Yeah. So you got to give Perrysburg credit, though. I mean, you go into the Beehive, that's a tough place to play.
Yes.
They were confident, they believed, and it showed last night.
And then on the Cardinal side of things, Southview remains unbeaten. Fremont Ross was in second place. They fell to Napoleon last night, so Clay and Fremont Ross sit there in that second place. Is anybody catching Southview in the Cardinal side of things?
No. I mean, they're 7-0. They got a 2-game cushion. Yes, they play Fremont Ross at Fremont Ross on Saturday, I believe. But even if they lose that game for some reason, they still have a 1-game lead. And with the shorter amount of games left in the Cardinal division, I don't see Southview stumbling. Keep in mind that Southview at home beat Fremont Ross by 23 points. Yeah. So I think there's a pretty wide gap there. I think that Southview is capitalizing on a veteran-laden team, not just their seniors, but they have some juniors who have been there, done that at the varsity level, and have gotten a lot of starts and a lot of minutes for Coach Dennis Springs. So I don't see anybody surprising Southview.
Agreed. I think Southview, I think they're going to take it.
CHSL side of things, all three of the teams in the area playing well, playing better than I think a lot of them did last season up to this point. But their big struggle is 0-6, now 0-7 after last night to UD Jesuit, Brother Rice, and then St. Mary's. So the three top teams in that CHSL just can't seem to finish the games on them.
Don't let that 0-6, 0-7 fool you. I mean, they've been close in a lot of these contests, and like I said, when you start looking at the Catholic schools, look at what's going to happen in a couple weeks with this drawing. When they get into the postseason, they are going to be razor sharp. Central did a good job last week coming back against the top team in the league.
We'll talk more about that for sure.
We'll talk about that. And I remember earlier when St. John's really could have knocked off Orchard Lake St. Mary. So, guys, I know you're looking at the record, and I know the coaches hate moral victories. These aren't moral victories. These guys are actually a play away from actually knocking a couple of these teams off. But we knew going into it, basketball-wise, what was going to happen with this Catholic League.
I think you need to just fight for the highest seed you can if you're Central Catholic, St. Francis, or St. John's when it comes to seeding within the CHSL tournament that takes place at the end of the regular season before the OHSA postseason. So, right now I'd say Central Catholic has a little edge there, but we've seen all three. We've talked about it ad nauseum here with the Irish, the Knights, and the Titans just going back and forth and giving each other losses in league play, outside of league play here in Toledo.
But I promise you this, I bet none of those top teams want to see those guys the first round.
Oh, you don't want to square off with those guys.
They might be like, hey, trust me, if you're a coach, you don't want to see these guys the first game.
We always expect the TAAC to be close. We'll get into more TAAC later, but now we got to get into our Player of the Week, brought to you by Sean's Irish Tavern. Hit the wipe. All right, our Player of the Week as chosen by our poll over on X. Braylon Williams from Clay, a 32-banger in their win over Napoleon last week. Final score 69-55 for Clay, sitting, like I just mentioned, in that second place spot, tied with Fremont Ross in the NLL Cardinal Division. And Dion's going to enjoy this because Coach Lionel Armstead said he was scoring at all three levels. It's almost like I've heard that before, Dion, all three
Lionel
levels.
Listens to me. He knows what's up.
I love it.
No, because I say it all the time because there's just two-level scores now. Even if you look at college and the NBA, it's either a three or guys are going to the rack. The pull-up is a lost art, the mid-range game. But there are points in there, guys, and we're starting to see it. If you can get that little shot fake pull-up, those are easy buckets because nobody even guards like that.
Sure, that 18 to 22-foot range.
Yeah, offense and defense. He was doing it both on that game, in that game. And I like his basketball IQ. He gets out. He knows if he's got a teammate who gets a rebound, outlet pass, and he streaks down the court, he knows how to get open even without the ball and just capitalize on the easy buckets. If a team's going to give you a layup by not getting back on transition defense, do it.
See, that's the Coach Lionel Armstead effect. He played, and he was a guy that liked to shoot the ball a lot. So, when you have a coach that allows you that type of offensive freedom to be who you are, man, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. Shout out to Braylon Williams, our player of the week. He talked about this being a goal of his, a dream of his, to be a player of the week on BCSN,
Nice.
growing up in the area, seeing BCSN. So shout out to him, our player of the week. We'll be right back, though, after 30 seconds from Buffalo Wild Wings. Hit it.
Buffalo Wild Wings, buy one, get one free. Boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. Go, go! Ah! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
All right, we are back and talking about that game Dion mentioned from last week. UD Jesuit in town taking on Central Catholic. This one looked like a runaway, and it looked like the Irish were down and out. And then a fourth quarter rally, 58-60, the final score. The Irish do fall. But the resilience of that fourth quarter rally, Justin, had us all kind of up out of our seats cheering on Friday night at Game Day Nation.
Yeah, they battled back in that second half, and when you're down against a team that is undefeated and who is playing extremely well, has a UT commit coming in your place, and he played extremely well. Hats off to Coach Mike Floyd for keeping the players engaged. I was really impressed, Dion, by Dre Wardrop.
Yes.
A number of other players considered quote unquote above him, maybe in the pecking order on that roster, but he came to play, knocked down some crucial threes, had a transition dunk. Always nice to see him throwing it down. Brandon Bosch, who was on the call for that, along with Brad Woznicki, had a good observation. He said Isaiah Mack Russell adjusted his offensive playing in that second half because he adapted to kind of become a post player. It seemed as if UD Jesuit was taking away some of Isaiah Mack Russell's natural inclinations and how he gets to the rim and how he scores. But when you got the height like Isaiah Mack Russell has, he's got shiftiness. He's a good job, even with his back to the basket. He kind of, to feel the defender behind you and know how to go right, left. I was just kind of impressed.
Lost start, too. I mean, the guys posted up.
Yeah.
It's very simple. You see a mismatch, you post them up. Quick on Dre Wardrop. I was talking to Coach Greg Dempsey last week about him. I don't know if you guys know, but he's a major baseball recruit. I mean, obviously, we know that. Great athlete. But he told me to make sure I mention this about these kids. He said they are super, kids throughout the day at school. They don't have, I'm the superstar guy walking around. They're leaders in every aspect. So I want to get that out there. And credit to Coach Mike Floyd. Because, sometimes it's with the coaching, too, when you get your kids to behave a certain way and there's certain expectations. But I've always liked Dre Wardrop's game. I mean, he's a good athlete, and he showed it. But you can't spot a team. I didn't see it, but I kind of looked back.
Yeah.
Spot them that first half. You think about it, you played a little bit better the first half. They were down, 9 after halftime?
31-22, the halftime score. Outscore them 36-29 in the second half, did Central. A lot of that being a big fourth quarter where all the momentum felt like it was on the Irish side. But like you mentioned, just almost too little, too late where – but it's interesting to talk about what goes on in the locker room with Coach Mike Floyd there, where he's say, hey, we're in this, right? We just got a couple things that aren't falling our way. And then that second half really showed what we've said for multiple weeks, where they're going to come out of the CHSL and be a scary team in the Ohio playoffs.
Now, we just talked about Perrysburg youth. This is a young team. Central's still young.
100%.
Isaiah Mack Russell, it seems like he's been around forever, but he's only a sophomore.
Yep.
So, you're going to get some ups and downs with your play when you have youth like that. So they'll be okay.
And you add in, right, Carruthers hasn't been healthy fully, right? You've had Mandy Johnson, who's been banged up with a shoulder injury. So those guys have been in and out of the lineup. And you add that into a huge comeback, a great game for Central Catholic. They'll get things right. Now it's time to get into our clip of the week, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Hit that wipe. We're taking you all the way back to last Tuesday for our clip of the week out in White House. TC, A-Dub. Blake Robinson just gets it done. Hit that play button. Here we go. TC with the ball. Just 6 seconds left. Great defense. It's not all about Blake Robinson because we got to steal a tip. Quick ball over to Blake Robinson. Bucket. And my favorite part about this, just a casual stroll. I'm going to head into the locker room. I'll see you guys later.
Hey, he's been balling out, though. I mean, it's like
Blake Robinson every single week making plays. He's averaging 18.8 points per game. But like I said, it's not all Blake Robinson in this one because a great effort of find the ball. We know where the clock's at. quick, and then just the touch pass, bang,
It's
right
the
over
swag.
the
Y'all know I like Hooper. I'm in the barbershop all the time. That's what we be talking
Yes.
I love the biggest thing for me, guys, is just clock and court awareness. Know where you're at. You know, he got up off the mat. You know, he was in the corner there after trying to make a play, and then right spot. Obviously, nobody on him because TC's trying to get up. But great defensive play. Teamwork makes the dream work. That was 3 guys in one play: deflection, steal,
little touch pass,
quick shot, and you know he was turned around and had to spin around and get the shot off with a good rotation. Look at the clock, 1 point. I mean, that sucker got off with about a 1/10 of a second
Right.
left.
Walk off. This is what I do.
I just
you know,
love that.
love the court awareness and the clock awareness. We talk about it all the time, Dion, where you don't get shots off. You're totally unaware. A player's unaware. Or a coaching staff is unaware of, hey, clock's winding down. Find a way to get a shot off, and they do it.
It looked like a little bit like those old trick plays on a return for a football field where Blake Robinson's laying down on the side of the end zone. My jersey matches the field. No one can see me. Finds his way up. But again, great play, tipping the pass. They're trying to force it, looks like, to Kester there. And then just, my favorite part about the whole thing, I'm going to just let it play here. You see it on your screen.
That's
if
the
you're
best
listening to
part.
us on audio, you better find the stream of this because he just strolls off into the sunset at halftime. This was a big win for Anthony Wayne last week. And Blake Robinson, a huge part of that. 67-39, the final for that one. You want more highlights just like this one, head over to our TikTok at BCSN Sports. We're on our way over to 10,000 followers. You want more like Blake Robinson walking off on a triple at the buzzer, head over to our TikTok. But now we got student section of the week, a special Thursday night edition north of the border. The Whiteford Bobcats are this week's student section of the week. Plenty of action going on north of the border with them, and they're taking on rivalry, unbeaten Summerfield. This Thursday, we'll have the chain out. Whatever energy you got up in Ottawa Lake, bring it out. We got the chain coming your way. Shout out to Whiteford, this week's Unison Health and Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lucas County student section of the week. But a big one this week in the City League. Lima Senior and Rogers going at it Friday, 7:30 p.m. on BCSN Plus. We've talked about the last couple weeks. Can anybody stop Lima Senior? Our thought is maybe not, but this is a chance for Rogers to step up to the plate, Justin.
Yeah, I got a mix of thoughts on this one. So can anybody beat them? It's looking difficult to do so. But if there's a coach in the City League that I would rely upon to come up with a scheme and a game plan to slow down Lima Senior or just give them struggles throughout 32 minutes, give me Rodney Martin at Rogers.
Yeah. Going
against a extremely credible coach in Quincy Simpson down at Lima Senior, and he's done a heck of a job in building just a program, not just a one-year wonder type of deal. I think Rogers is going to have to play its best, and then Lima Senior is going to not have to play an average or good or definitely best game for this one to be close. I mean, guys, Rogers lost to Start twice, and Lima Senior beat Start by 30.
Yeah.
So if you're playing that transitive property, I know we don't like to do that necessarily in sports where you're just trying to find some context and the quality of play and the quality of a roster. It's going to be an uphill battle for Rogers, as both of these teams, though, will get into the semifinals February 10th through the 14th. The City League postseason tournament, top 4 teams qualify and then advance to the semis and then finals. Those games will be on the BCSN Plus app coming up in mid-February.
Yeah, this well-oiled machine, Dion. I mean, Lima Senior's winning City League games by an average of 42.2 points per game.
I was
You've
looking at that.
got to find a way to slow them down.
So I'm looking at it like I said, okay, are they averaging 42? No, they're beating
winning
teams
by
almost 50 points. And I hate to take this ELO approach as well, but I don't know. I just don't think Rogers has enough firepower. I mean, now I say this. They're playing at home, so the crowd's going to be there. They're going to be on their side. And I agree with you, Justin. I think Rodney Martin, if anybody can do it, it's going to be him. He'll scheme up a way. The thing, I say this a lot with teams that score a lot. You got to play zone. You got to play the percentages. I cannot let these foster kid boys get off, go into the rack.
Yeah.
You know, because Lima's going to travel well too. You know, we got to cut down the excitement of the plays that they do with the dunks and stuff. But I'm not sure Rogers can score enough. You know, I mean, to beat them. But you got to keep the game. If you keep the game below 50, you have a shot.
Yeah.
That's the only shot you have. Don't try to score with them. Don't try to press them.
Yeah.
Don't do all that.
Yeah, you don't want to get into a race with this team. I mean, you look at just the averages, right? Willie Foster, Sean Foster, JaQuell Cotton average 44.8 points per game combined. Rogers is only scoring 54.2. Those are not foreboding stats. If you're Lima Senior, you're looking at that going, all right, I think we're going to be all right Friday.
Yeah, and I think, Dion, your point of trying to slow them down, I think it can be harder for some teams as compared to others to kind of switch what you normally do on a number of occasions or game in and game out, kind of the adage of do what's got you here type of deal. And Rogers has an outstanding record. You know, they have lost to some superb teams, but they've beaten the teams that they're supposed to beat. I think they would like some retries with the games against Start. But I think that when you say, okay, let's get up and press or let's get up and down the court, and then you say, okay, nope, don't do that against Lima Senior, it's kind of easier said than done for 16, 17, 18-year-old kids.
Coach Rod, we've been friends since teenagers. Please listen to me on this one, man. Do not try to press these guys, okay? Seriously, play a zone. Hopefully they'll take some shots, some long threes. Yeah. I will live with that. Get your guys.
Play your percentages.
Limit them to one shot and out, because nobody's going to shoot 100%. But if you try to get up and down, and not to mention, Rogers doesn't have a double-figure scores. They do it by committee,
sure,
which is good, because you got a lot of guys you have to worry about. But I would not try to go. Don't do it, please.
And they're one of the few teams, it feels like, Rogers, that has the athletes to match what Lima Senior does with Kydra McAllister, Traden Booker, O.J. Waller, just continuing to grow as the season's gone on. They have the guys to match up a little bit with Lima Senior defensively.
Well, people think a zone, you're just sitting back. There's a lot of things you can do out of the zone. You can X-trap in the corners if it goes down there. You can put some pressure. You can mix
passing lanes.
Yes, you can mix things in to make it a little more difficult. Sure. But if you start pressing these guys and they start getting out on that break, I've seen them in transition. There's very few teams that can match them what they do in transition in the whole state.
Lima Senior riding a hot streak. They've won 10 in a row since that loss to Whitmer. They beat Pace Academy from Georgia last week. They beat Grand Rapids, Northview last week. Two very good teams, a combined 30-7 record for those two teams. And Lima would lock up the top spot in the City League playoffs with a win this Friday. Catch that 7:30 p.m. on the BCSN Plus app. But it is time for some Taction. Game of the week brought to you by Dunn, Chevy, and Oregon. Hit the wipe. We're ready to go. Never a bad time for Taction here on the BCSN Nation podcast. TC in our game of the week again this week, taking on Ottawa Hills, 7:15 p.m. on the community channel. Same bat time, same bat channel as last week, same bat conference, and a close matchup still in the Toledo Area Athletic Conference, Justin.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think this is a great matchup of two of the top teams, definitely contenders within the TAAC. Two solid coaches in Coach John Lindsay and Coach Tyler Boris. They've been around the block. They've been with their respective programs for decades. And I know Coach Tyler Boris hasn't been the head coach for a decade, but he's been around the TC program. So both prideful programs. I mean, the court at Ottawa Hills is named John Lindsay Court for a reason. In comparing these two teams, you got TC, who's 6-4 road record. You got Ottawa Hills, who's 6-1 at home. So you got some, balance there. 56 points per game for TC, 60 points per game for Ottawa Hills. Pretty balanced right there. Yep. Ottawa Hills has won 7 of 8. But this is a matchup where quality RPI points are on the line. Both of these teams are in the same division, Division 6, same district, Northwest District 2. And right now, Ottawa Hills is the 2 seed when it comes to RPI. TC is the 4 seed. So TC could kind of flip that a little bit with a win. And I think this TAC, guys, this TAC conference has the ability from the top, even like the top 5 teams have shots to go on some deeper tournament runs and be the best. I think that if you're trying to stack up the best conferences, that's how I would judge it. 2 of those teams can go on deep playoff runs. Yeah. I think the CHSL with the 3 boys Catholic League teams, and you got Notre Dame on the girls' side as well.
Yes.
And then for the TAC, on the boys' side, you got TC, Ottawa Hills, Maumee Valley Country Day, maybe Emmanuel Christian. If they get some legs underneath them, I think they could all go on some deep runs, Dion.
You guys are both wrestlers, right, in high school?
Yeah.
So you guys understand the concept of how tough the room is. It makes you better.
Yeah.
That's what we see with this conference. And I looked at it. This is a must-win game for Ottawa Hills, okay? If they win, then they can control their own destiny, essentially.
Right.
But Toledo Christian, if they win, they can control it, but they still have Maumee Valley to play. So that's what makes this interesting. There's a 3-team race. I think if Toledo Christian wins, they get a cushion. However, they still got to see Maumee Valley.
Yep.
And if they win, then we got, because there's not like a city league. We don't have 4 teams in the playoff. It's based on the record. So Ottawa Hills has to win this. I think, if they don't, I think they're out of it.
How about we get a rematch or a duplication of what happened the first time these two teams met on December 21st?
What I was going towards.
TC won 58-57 in overtime. You want a stat line, Dion? Carter Kester, 27 points, 23 boards, looking like Nikola Jokic.
Shocking.
I mean, he
Carter
just
Kester.
dominated.
Yeah, right.
So Coach John Lindsay texted me, and he said that they got to contain him. Good luck.
Yes.
No
And
one
then
has
two,
all year.
You got to make smart decisions with the basketball and limit turnovers, limit opportunities. It's the same tried and true, but you got to execute it on the court against a talented team. But up and down, Jackson Snyder, Chase Miller for Ottawa Hills, Will Summers, Ty Anderson, Sam Brown, Jackson Broach. You got to find a way to kind of by committee slow down the offensive firepower of Carter Kester and Silas Mickle. They had 52 of the 59 points versus Emmanuel Christian last Friday. So you got the 3 Josiahs. How about this? They're not brothers. There's 3 dudes on TC's team named Josiah, Mikowski, Hillrich, and Winkler, a freshman, junior, and a junior. I don't know how Coach Tyler Boris figures that out. We talked about this with BJ Raymond and start with the Jefferson brothers.
Yeah.
The same thing applies to TC here with the Josiah boys.
You know how you slow Carter Kester down? You
hope he doesn't play.
Well, that too. But you got to try to get him in foul trouble.
Yeah,
you have to attack him.
him.
And a lot of times when I watch teams, they stay away from him.
Yeah.
You have to attack him because TC will play some man. You got to run some plays where maybe you can get him, to jump and draw some fouls.
Sure.
We all know when a guy's in foul trouble, they're not the same. You got to try to get him out the game.
Play with some caution.
Or either you say, okay, I know he's going to get his 26-30. We shut everybody else down.
Sure.
So those are 2 approaches you got to take.
2 teams with very different approaches to how they get their points. TC, very Carter Kester, Silas Mickle heavy. Ottawa Hills gets it done a lot more by committee, kind of like Rogers that we talked about. We'll be right back with our games list after 30 seconds from Buffalo Wild Wings.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
All right, well, after that commercial plays, you know what it is. It's time for the games list. Hit me with it, Steve. Give me the games list. All right, plenty coming up this week. Tomorrow, Central Catholic Perrysburg on the girls' side. And then we've got Summerfield Whiteford. We talked about it north of the border. The Chain will be there for some boys basketball. And then the Walleye are back in town. ECHL Fort Wayne at Toledo Walleye. That'll be on BCSN, meaning Game Day Nation. Slide over to the NLL network powered by BCSN. And then our game of the week will be on the community channel. A lot going on this Friday night, gentlemen, on that games list.
Yeah, looking forward to a ton of good-looking matchups there.
Yes.
And I like the fact that we'll feature a bunch of top 30 boys and girls watch list players. Nearly all of those teams, you're going to get or more representatives on our top 30 watch list. And to give you a sense of how we put that together here, I know we got time running out here, but talking to Dion and Rhett and our Sports Nightly anchors, myself, getting feedback from coaches. We look at stats. We look at all kinds of other aspects, how the team leaders and impacting your team, all that kind of stuff. So we take feedback, and it's hard. We put together a list, and we're going to get criticized, and we welcome it because somehow, some way, we're going to leave somebody off, but you got to pick a number and stick to it. So we'll go from 30 to 10 down to the final 5. We'll tease it on Friday, and we'll debut it in the 9 o'clock hour on Game Day Nation, so make sure you tune in.
I'm going to make you guys come to the barbershop with me after this list comes out.
Okay. And see what you take.
Only when they take the flag, right?
We're going to get the flag for it there. I'm excited for that Start Southview matchup that we saw up there.
Yeah,
a big non-conference clash late
those.
in the season. That's a wrap, though. That's all we got for today's episode. Make sure you catch Justin, myself, We'll have Rhett out of town, so Coach Hobbs is stepping in for Rhett with Dion on Friday for Game Day Nation.
No. That's not till next week. That's not till
we got
next
the
week.
full squad.
Rhett,
we got the whole regular
Dion
squad here.
I was gonna say, hopefully,
we
I'll
got
get
the
a
full
word in
regular squad
age-wise.
this We'll see how that shakes out in the future. Make sure you follow at Justin Feldkamp, at Thompson Jiu-Jitsu, at BCSN Sports. Catch us right here next Wednesday for a brand new episode of the BCSN Nation podcast. We will see you next week.